As a new virus rips through China, Chinese scientists say they've had a breakthrough, and it might be just as horrifying as you can imagine. Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. Good news, everyone. After the rollout of Chinese COVID vaccines that didn't work very well, Chinese scientists have come up with a new way to treat a variety of COVID variants. And the treatment seems specifically targeted towards Americans. Now I know you may be hesitant to trust China after they covered up the spread of COVID so they could hoard medical supplies. But check out this new research by Chinese scientists published in the prestigious Nature Medicine journal. Now I know you may not trust Nature so much after it came out that their parent company, Springer Nature, was getting sponsorship agreements from China that could be worth $10 million, censored hundreds of journal articles that Beijing considered too sensitive, and was one of the leading voices early on telling us there was no way COVID came from a lab leak. But this research by Chinese scientists in Nature is really exciting. I mean, yes, it was funded mostly by the Chinese government, but they would never manipulate the science for political reasons. We can definitely trust this research on a brand new inhalable dry powder COVID-19 vaccine. Because when has any COVID vaccine been controversial? Don't answer that. Seriously, don't. YouTube will delete this video. Which reminds me, support China Uncensored on patreon.com/China Uncensored. YouTube literally is trying to drive us out of business. Your support is the only thing keeping us going. So this new inhalable Chinese COVID vaccine is causing quite a stir, especially after researchers said something I bet they regret real bad right now. I'll tell you what it is right after this quick commercial break, assuming we aren't demonetized. Welcome back, I hope. Chinese scientists claim to have developed an inhalable, single-dose, dry powder aerosol COVID vaccine. Deep breath now, everybody. The inhalable vaccine works by using nanoparticles with COVID antigens that get into even the very deep lung region, supposedly providing better protection from a whole slew of COVID variants. In particular, the research points out that it is effective against the transmission of the Omicron variant, which is the dominant variant of COVID in the US. Not only that, but the microcapsule that the vaccine is stored in is based on a material already approved by the US FDA. This thing is practically made for the US. So when can we start importing this new COVID vaccine? Currently, the US doesn't use Chinese vaccines, and China doesn't seem to want American COVID vaccines. Even during a major spike at the beginning of 2023, China kept rejecting America's offer to send COVID vaccines. However, recently Moderna signed a $1 billion deal to make vaccines in China. Inhalable vaccines do have a lot of promise. They're pretty easy to store, which means they can be shipped to even remote places with poor health infrastructure, which is important for fighting something like a pandemic. So, I know you're dying to try this new inhalable Chinese vaccine, but hold your horses. This other article in Nature points out that its safety and immune potency remain to be tested by clinical trials in humans. It also raised the question about the potential for undesired inflammation. Sounds like a case of climate change. However, that article caused a lot of controversy when it stated that an inhalable vaccine shows more promise because intramuscularly injected vaccines cannot induce immunity in the mucosal tissue of the airways, which is the site of COVID entry. Although these shots are generally effective in providing protection against developing severe disease, they are less good at preventing infection by rapidly evolving variants. That statement obviously caused a lot of very interesting comments on Twitter. So, would you try a Chinese inhalable COVID vaccine? Let me know in the comments below. And I have a video I want to show you about how you can survive under communism. But first, it's time to show some love to the people who make this show possible. The China Uncensored 50-cent Army. Fans who support the show on our exclusive social media platform on ChinaUncensored.locals.com. As my way of thanks, I answer their questions at the end of these episodes. Today's question comes from Thomas Cormode. If China is really having issues with food security, why do I see more and more made in China food showing up in stores, nuts, seafood, dried fruit, canned fruit, etc., in North America? An excellent question. China exports a lot of food to the US, but I've also claimed China is dealing with serious food security issues. What gives? So first of all, Chinese food exports have remained relatively consistent over the past decade, about $4 billion. By comparison, US exports of soybeans alone to China are about $18 billion, according to the USDA. And while China does export a lot of food like garlic and tilapia, that's not the foods they have food security issues with. That's grains and pork. And there is no large-scale exporting of pork, grains, or soy. The CCP isn't worried about a garlic shortage until there's a vampire outbreak. China has very limited arable land, and pollution has ruined a lot of what they had. That's why China has been mass importing food. Even if the CCP stopped exporting the food they do ship, that wouldn't feed a hungry population. That would just hurt China's GDP more than anything else. So thank you for your question and your support, Thomas. And now, I'm not sure I can keep getting away with this, but I created a new show to talk about things too sensitive for YouTube by hiding it in gaming content. Click on this video, Surviving Communism According to Fear and Hunger. YouTube won't be happy about it, but I think you'll enjoy it. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.